All right, welcome to our weekly check-in. We didn't have one last week because I had a meeting with Vicky and Lindsay. So we are back this week, and so we'll go back to our agenda. As you can see, can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to start off again with our praise reports, celebrations, anything you guys want to celebrate that has happened within the last 2 weeks, the last time we met. Anybody want to start off? I know y'all got something to say.
I turned in my impact presentation.
Yay!
Yes, indeed. Really good.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna push y'all to talk. I know y'all have talked enough through them presentation. But I do want to celebrate. I do have some to celebrate. I want to celebrate all 20 of you for the work, you guys. It has been a fast-paced year, and then a year of just just quick transitions as far as, okay, we was wrapping up the school year in school anyway with our school review process, and all of a sudden here comes, now we got to go into a virtual process and still build learning and deepen our teachers' understanding and capacity while we're out because they were still in school. And I want to just celebrate y'all because nobody pushed back on like why we're doing this. Even when you like, okay, I'm going to have to do it this way, or okay, I'm going to have to talk to the principal because teachers are not logging into a Google Classroom. Nobody just pushed back and like it was an idea just out of the blue. Everybody took charge, came aboard, and I really think we got some good things accomplished within those 7 weeks of really just meeting with those actual teachers. And it just speaks to your capacity as a master teacher, but not only your capacity, but as your commitment to the work. And I think if I don't appreciate or celebrate anything more than you as your role as a master teacher, it's just your commitment to this work. I think that really, really brings it all home and sums it up in a nutshell. You guys are truly committed to this work. And so that goes a long way with me. We all don't have to have the same level of capacity, but just being committed to what we signed up for it's very, very, very important to me. So I do want to celebrate you guys on today because, again, teachers are wrapping up. And I know some of you probably say, well, I still continue the virtual platform with teachers and all those kind of things. Is we can say that we finally got through a school year with 3/4 of it being face-to-face and 1/4 of it being on a virtual platform. But it just also speaks to our magnitude of all the capabilities that we have now when we think about going, even when school gets back to a normal process, how we can really leverage this virtual platform to really just still magnify our work. Especially when I think about new teacher support, and when I think about supporting teachers, and when I think of it from the lens of especially middle high, through those lenses, it's very important that we understand that now I got an alternate way. I probably can't get to this teacher during the school day, but I can probably sit up and say, hey, Thursday evenings at 6 o'clock, let's just jump on, and I can kind of support a teacher through that. So I think this virtual platform has given us a different avenue to kind of magnify our work that we're already doing inside the school building. So again, kudos to y'all for working so hard. You can't tell me nothing about master teachers because I know the work is extremely hard. Now let's go on to talk about virtual PLC reflections as forward, and then also next steps. So do anybody want to share out like where you left off with your teachers and what is your plan of action now that it's really kind of like summertime? What is your plan of action? Or is it something that you're going to continue? Or is it something that you like, okay, we'll just pick back up this in August? Anybody want to share their processes of where you're going with yours?
I will. This is Rosalind. And for the science teachers, they have committed to just as long as it takes. On this week is our second week of doing that. So they had to bring certain things to the table this week based on some just some reflection questions that I put out there last week. And they came to the table very prepared and just ready to dive in. So we're going to continue to work through those standards because that's really where we kind of, that I won't say get stuck, but sometimes I guess we would, because some teachers would not understand the standard as far as what should be taught to the appropriate level of rigor and how deep you should go with that and all that. So taking the time to actually do that now when we don't have all the other 1,000,001 things to do, it's helpful. And like I told them, this is not mandatory. If you can't get on here, you just can't, I understand that families are doing things and, all that, but they have committed themselves to doing this. And today we had all of the Woodlawn science teachers, because I think BTW teachers had something, a couple of them had something else going on, but they've committed to doing the work. And if they miss out on it, everybody has a buddy that has been assigned to them, so they can kind of get with that person and get what they needed. So I'm hoping that will build momentum and it won't fizzle out as the summer goes, because we really need to dig into those standards.
Right. Yeah, that's good, Roz. That is good stuff. Anybody else want to share out?
Can I add on to what Roz was saying?
Sure.
I personally am going to try to build my capacity in ELA, just looking at the standards, because at our school we have about 9 new teachers that are about to come in. We have 9 positions that we need to fill. So I have to build my capacity, because the teachers who are there, who will be coming on, they're going to need more direction, not just with the school, but with the standards. So I'm focusing mostly on standards in reading, because the math standards, science standards, and with social studies, I'm doing okay. But with ELA, I know that me personally, I need to focus on those foundation skills for our students, because they're struggling because they can't read. And if the teachers don't understand how to teach reading, or teach reading skills, or comprehension skills, or even just teach kids sound, then there's going to be a problem. So I'm building my capacity in those areas.
Oh, that is great. That is great, you guys. It's just to piggyback on Princess, what she's saying, you guys. That's why this role is so important. We have to be at least 2 steps ahead of teachers in all levels of capacity. Even when we're thinking about it, we can't always think about our most struggling teacher. We need to also think of it from at the top, from our teacher with the most capacity, because it's my job as a master teacher to even grow and support them. So I got to make sure that I'm 2 steps ahead on knowing what I'm supporting or knowing what I'm leading on my campus. So that speaks to something I'm going to talk about in a minute, for instance. So thank you for jumping in and thank you for being transparent with us. We are considered a family, and my thing is, all the work is hard. So whatever work that everybody's doing on the campus, whether we feel that we're doing a good job with it or not, we are doing hard work. So thank you for being transparent on that, as far as a refinement or a growth area for you as we to come up on this summer break. Anybody else want to jump on and share, or jump in and share about your virtual PLC reflections, and then what are your next steps? Okay, going once.
Hey, no, I was looking for the little button here. My 4-year-old distracted me. Excuse me. I would like for the mentors next year to kick us off with present instructional content, because in my reflections I saw where not the majority, but many of my teachers were refined in present instructional content, specifically providing a model, or a strong enough model. So I would like to start there, since neither of the mentors were refined in that area. And that'll also allow the mentors to have a more solid role and cluster, because normally they'll just present like the objective for the learning or the outcome, and they'll walk around, but they didn't really have a strong role and cluster this past year. So I want to do that. I'm also working on researching some reading strategies. So our students struggle with citing textual evidence. So if any of y'all have a strategy, you can put in the chat that I can look into. please put it on in there so I can study that. So that's it for me.
Awesome. And you guys, Sarah made a very strong point when she said about those mentors. And remember, we are going now into year 4 implementation. And so it's your job now as a master teacher to begin to start building capacity within your mentors. That means that you shouldn't be taking the heavy lifting and leading clusters all the time. You should be using your mentors to their fullest capacity and coaching them in the process, allowing them to take the heavy lifting in cluster, and you provide them with the guidance. Like I say, you are still always going to be the mastermind behind the curriculum on your campus, because you are the person who's supposed to be studying that curriculum, because you are the one who provide that job embedded weekly professional development every single week. But you are now become a facilitator, where you are allowing them to actually do more leading, and you're doing more coaching and guiding them through the process. And so can you do that with every mentor that you that sits under you or sit on your team? No way, because some of them just don't have the capacity to lead the work. But then you do have some campuses or places and pockets where you have strong mentors who can lead a cluster hands down. And I mean lead it all the way through, and you sitting there and you jumping in or stepping in when you need to. But at the end of it, you're saying, okay, let's sit down, let's talk about it. And you taking them through those same reflective questions that I will ask you, or if your administrators are doing a good job with coaching, that your administrators will ask you. You take those mentors through those same reflective questions to build their capacity. And that will help leverage the work a lot when it comes to you as a master teacher doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So I'm glad Sarah did bring out that point. And so again, she did ask again if you guys have some strategies that you've used within these last 3 years that revolves around citing text evidence. She said put it in the chat so that she can see those things. I love Sarah. Sarah don't mind asking for help. I love that, and asking questions. That is so I just love that trait in her. All right, anybody else want to share out your next steps with the virtual platform, or to reflect on what you thought of it with the weeks that you really went to it and really began to build capacity through the virtual platform? Anybody else want to share out? Okay, well, moving forward, you guys, I definitely want to say again, thank you for building such strong platforms as far as building that teacher capacity. So let's just talk about some next steps when we come to it, because I think some of you have done a great job with your virtual platforms, and it has provided you opportunities to really, really build some work around it. So after today, when I think about if school is going to be out and the school is out and we are here at summertime, teachers are not really required to be active in a school process. If they want to, they can, but as Roz stated, they're not required. I was thinking, like, how can we leverage this virtual platform to build capacity and develop teachers over the summer? My thing is, if 90% of teachers want to grow and want to be better. Some the other 10%, 5% think they have already arrived, and 5% can care less. But 90% of them truly want to be better at that craft. And so when I think about that, I would say, okay, how can we leverage and really, really leverage this platform that we spent time building, that we spent about at least 5 good weeks giving them some good quality stuff. And so I start thinking, I say, the new teachers that's coming to the campus, so that's communicating with the leadership team, who's been hired, and how can we start during the summertime, putting our hands on those teachers and building that capacity during the summertime while those teachers don't have a lot of distractions. And when I think of that, you guys, teachers don't mind giving up an hour a week for some learning. Now, if it was every day, a boot camp that's every day for a month, that's totally different. But an hour a week, teachers do not mind that when it's good quality stuff. So that's one thing. That's one way I say how we can kind of leverage this platform and keep it going. When those new hires are coming on board, you guys, what better way to start building capacity with them as far as just the basic stuff, rubric, really understanding the rubric. Going beyond that, understanding standards, understanding how to create success criteria, just basic stuff that will be impactful for them as a classroom teacher. So when August comes, they won't be overwhelmed when all of this stuff fall out the sky on them at one time. I also thought about the struggling and emerging teachers that are already on our campuses. We know who those teachers are. They haven't arrived to be proficient yet. Some are emerging, they're growing, and some are just still struggling. How can we use a virtual platform through the summertime and just check in on those teachers and say, okay, let me know what you're thinking. Be that think partner for them. Get them some guidance on. Most of the time it's going to be classroom management over an instructional issue, but most of our teachers, some are not most, but a lot of our teachers have both of those deficits. They have a problem with the management and they have a problem with really planning, effective planning. So how can I be an assistance to those teachers who are struggling and emerging? Also, I thought about with the jump start, to get a jump start on unit planning and lesson planning. When we think about that, it's just really looking at what are they supposed to be teaching for the first 9 weeks, or the first unit of learning in their content, really making sure they are diving into that and they know exactly what is the end goal and the expectations. So just really having some discussions and conversations through their work. But again, we still are able to build capacity over the summer. And then the last big thing is to start, strong start that the state is pushing all districts to do. All districts have to turn in a plan of action on how they're going to have a strong start at the beginning of the school year that has a very, very academic focused lens on how they're going to merge and how they're going to attack unfinished learning and the things they're going to do to really keep curriculum going. So I know Angela and her department with Dr. Brown, they've been spending the last 2 weeks like really, really trying to think through this, because every district has to turn in a plan because the state has given allotted money to every district to support this plan. So when that plan is released to the district, you guys, how can we really get a jump start on that plan with our teachers? And so those are just 4 things that I listed, like how can we still use our virtual platform where we don't have to meet up with a teacher, we don't have to go meet them at a building, we can really still leverage our virtual platform and still build capacity on our campuses. So those are just some thoughts. If you want to continue your virtual platform, I think most of you should, because you have a very solid platform. Then it brings us to talk about the curriculum and instruction department updates, which I just got through talking about the Strong Start project. And again, as you can see on the screen, Cato plan, Angela met with us last Friday. And so the Cato plan will focus on those 3 things. Addressing unfinished learning from last year, preparing for the new learning and extending learning for this upcoming year, and then making sure and prepare for school for facility closure. Like if October or November come and it's another spike with the pandemic, do we already have a platform that we can go to that's laid out and it won't cause a lot of panic and a lot of stress and a lot of trying to understand and figure it out? So those are the 3 main goals that she say that the district is really focusing on for this Start Strong process. And so as the district rolls out a plan, you guys, I think it's out. My thing is I'm on Angela's team. I haven't had a lot of conversation with this because a lot of this revolves around Dr. Brown's and her team's work. But as things are pushed out, I will push out to you so that you can be aware of it as you are preparing for those kind of things in the beginning of the school year. The main thing, you guys, I think we got to jump start up before the district when we start saying, let's look at unfinished business. Let's ask our teachers where they left off. Let's talk about a process on how we can kind of merge those things. I'm sure the district going to do that same kind of work. I'm sure the state is going to do that same process. So I think we got to jump start on it. So my thing is, at the end of the day, if it's a 4th grade teacher, 5th grade teacher, 6th grade teacher who's teaching their current grade, they still need to know, again, what they're teaching. So they need to know their curriculum. They need to know their standards. So you can't go wrong building capacity around what they are already teaching. Yes, the model that the district go with or whatever they go with for the unfinished learning process, or how we're going to go about attacking this unfinished stuff. Yes, that'll be new, but it won't be anything the teachers are not familiar with if we've already talking through standards and vertical progression, which I think we've done with these past 6 or 7 weeks on talking to our teachers about that. So that's just the curriculum updates of what we got last Friday when we met with Angela and her team about the Strong Start process. Now let's go and talk about impact presentations and to give you some feedback. How many of you glad that process is over?
I'm happy glad.
it really wasn't a bad process. About 5 people was champions. They say, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do a live model. And I like, oh, okay, live model, but it wasn't bad at all.
Am I supposed to tell you I'm glad before I get my contract, or are you issuing contracts today?
Don't worry about a contract. Y'all will be fine. Y'all will be fine. Y'all will be fine. So let's just talk about some things with that. You guys, I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to that, one thing that I really watched when I listened to the presentations or when I watched the live presentations were you guys able to talk your work? Do you really know your work? And so I didn't even focus a lot on the quality, which I'm sure that's gonna come to the table because I can easily identify fluff over stuff. So it's not hard to do that, but can you talk what you're doing, and then do you know why you're doing it? Even if it's not the best quality, do you know why you are doing your work? You guys, this role as a master teacher is so important on a campus. Don't let anybody ever tell you that your role is not important. This role is so important. Hold on, I got to let somebody in. I've been letting them in the waiting room. I'm just running my mouth. Lord help. All right, they in. They're in now. So people that's just joining, we are up to the impact giving some information, some feedback about the impact presentation. And so just left off just really kind of just affirming or confirming why your work is so important. You are not a principal. You guys are not a principal. It's some decisions that you cannot make on your campus when it comes to this work. But you guys, at the end of the day, regardless if there's regardless if there's a principal conflict or a leadership team conflict with that, your quality of your work of supporting and developing teachers should never be watered down, because that's your work. So even if you don't, if like me and the principal butt heads, or me and the IC butt heads, or me and the APs butt heads, that does not affect your work. That doesn't affect your work. You are still required to know curriculum and support teachers. That is a requirement of yours. That's an obligation of yours. That's your work. So, and leaders to a degree can't stop that from happening. They can't stop you going and checking on teachers to make sure teachers are supported. They can't stop you from doing a good quality clusters, because that is your work. So I want you to keep that at the forefront as we go into year 4 of your work. That is actually your role, and you have a very important role when it comes to building capacity, teacher capacity on your campus. So let's just talk about the reinforcements from the presentations. But overall, thoroughly impressed that you guys can talk what you're doing and you know the why behind why you're doing it. And so the first thing that I saw that stood out, just really stood out, we have done a great job, and it also confirms what NIET says, or when they came and did the national visit on our campus. We have done a good job of marrying curriculum and TAP. Teachers don't feel like year 1, whether we was doing TAP here and curriculum here. You guys have done a very good job on your campus marrying those two things, tier 1 curriculum and TAP. And that's because you kept the curriculum at the forefront of everything that you do. And I don't care what kind of strategy we bring to the board, we're gonna layer that strategy on top of this curriculum. This is the curriculum. We're gonna look at standards. We're gonna study what you're teaching. You guys, that is so important work. And in year 4, we got to really amplify that too, and take that up a notch. So that teachers really understand what they're teaching, why they're teaching it, and if we are layering strategies on top of it, you guys, we can't detach that strategy or detach it from the curriculum. We got to still use the curriculum to show teachers how that looks with the curriculum when it comes to it. But that was through everybody's presentation, it came out. Curriculum at the table. I'm doing all this to talk through standards and curriculum. Another plus or strength that was through Majority of the presentations, you guys, is using EE-Pass to prove your teacher impact. So most of you done an amazing job saying, I know you can't tell me I didn't grow no teachers. I knew I grew teachers. And you use those reports to show that. This is where we start. I said for this cycle, I was focusing on presenting instructional content and standards and objectives. This is where my teacher scored before last year when we left off. This is where they at now, or this is what my teacher scored in cycle 1. But now in cycle 2, I'm doing this, and this is where we are now. So it was proven that what you were doing in cluster work, you guys, that is so important. The work is so important that we can't just go through cycle after cycle after cycle, and we don't do a check and balance system where we don't check to see if our work was effective. It's so important that we have measurable goals when we're talking about cluster cycle goals that we can measure to see. We just spent 6 weeks on that. Were those 6 weeks effective? Did they make an impact on teachers and students? We have to really keep that at the forefront of that. If we have cycle goals that are not measurable goals, you guys, again, how can we say we are providing them with good, strong cluster learning? We are providing them with good quantity PD, but how do we know if we're providing them with cluster learning? And then the last point, which I've already said, you guys, you did a very good job of communicating why we are using this strategy or why we are going to talk about lesson planning, or why we're going to talk about success criteria. You did a good job of establishing why you're doing what you're doing on your campus. So continue to do those things. Now let's talk about our next steps on where we go as year 4 when it comes to some refinements. One of the main things I just hit on is measuring the impact of each cycle, making sure that you can talk to and when I ask you, tell me what impact you made on teachers at your campus. You should never say, well, I believe. I believe should never come out of your mouth, because you should know if you made impact or not. And that's where the measurable piece comes in at. I made impact because in last year when we ended, 40% of our teachers was refined in presenting instructional content. After cycle 1, only 10% of our teachers are refined in presenting instructional content. So therefore, that shows that because of the work I've done through my clusters and the cluster learning, that our refinement has now went down and it's becoming a reinforcement. Those are kind of things that evidence that I know I made impact. And so pretty much what came through the presentations is I saw a lot of it with teacher impact, but there were glimpses and pieces of, can I talk to that same capacity with student impact? And so that's what I want to go to with the next two parts of it. In year 4, you guys, we have to do good job. We got to go over good. Good's just not good enough. We have to be very, very, very strategic in how we are tracking data week to week to week to week to week. Because a lot of times it's kind of superficial. It's compliance. We are doing it because this is what they want to see, or this is part of a TAP process, but we are doing it. And I think I have some master teachers, they don't even believe in it. We are doing it because it's just what we do. But how do we actually look at their work? How do we use their work? How do we talk through that work? How do we really just begin to really track to make sure we are looking and tracking at something every week? And that's talking about those qualitative trends and those quantitative trends, because that's what an impact shows at. Week 1, this is where we were. Week 5, this is how many high, medium, and lows that we have. Week 1, this was all the things that we found that what the kids could not do with student work. Now, look at week 5. These are all the things that we're finding kids can do with student work. You guys, that's the impact. But you got to be able to track work every week in order to talk through that level of impact. Another thing that was done by some of you that was done beautifully, that as we go and we begin to start doing some development for ourselves, when we're talking about developing us and growing our capacity, some of you were able to talk through student impact by showing how what you have done on your campus have changed one student. You followed that student all the way from August all the way up to now, and you've shown how that kid's writing has gone from not even able to write one sentence to being able to write a paragraph, or how that kid's structure in writing has went from being all over the place to now having transitions and conventions and all those things. But you took on your presentations one student and you was able to talk through your journey on how you've done that. You guys, I highlighted that because at the end of the day, this is our heavy hitter. One thing we know, when we build teacher capacity and our teachers are strengthening, it should have an effect, and I say should have an effect on student outcomes. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about moving an SPS and when we're talking about growing a school, it's this bullet that counts right here. Student impact. What impact am I doing that has an effect on students? And I know we're doing it kind of indirectly because one, we building teachers and growing teachers so teachers can build you. But at the end of the day, being that we are master teachers and we are doing field testing and all those things, we should be able to talk through how our work has impacted at least one student. We should be able to have some evidence and should be able to talk through what we've done with that. So as we move forward, you guys, I'm going to make sure we always come back to these refinements because we have the master teacher role. Y'all have that down pat. Y'all know that. I mean, y'all have that down pat and doing a very good job at it. But when we talk about year 4 implementation, you guys, now it's the time. Year 1 through 3 is when we truly build teacher capacity. We build buy-in and we shift culture, which means that now this is what we do. Year 4 through 6 is where we should be seeing bangs for the buck. And when I'm talking about bangs for the buck, I'm talking about those 10% gains in core areas. Even if we don't get a 10%, a 10-point gain in the SPS, where we go from a 55 to a 65, our proficiency gain should go from 20 to 40 or 35 to 50. We should be seeing some major gains in proficiencies during this time, which is going to impact SPS. But it's not until we can do these 3 things that these refinements well, that we can really, really, really set those measurable targets and understand, hey, 6 weeks is up. Now we need to have a leadership meeting just to talk about, did I have some impact? And now we need to talk about how do we go about leveraging and make sure that we are tracking something every single week, and I can bring it up and I can pull it up and I can relate back to it every week, and I can use it for to help teachers to develop and grow themselves. And then also when we're talking about our role as a master teacher, yes, I'm tracking my students. Yes, I'm leading through my IGP, but I'm always going to have that one kid in mind where I'm showing and I'm watching with a very, very, very laser focused lens and what I'm doing working on this kid, and I should be able to talk through that. So that's just the highlights from those presentations. I really enjoyed them, although some of them was over 10 minutes. I really enjoyed enjoyed listening to them just to make sure you was able to talk through your work. So you guys, I know you're glad that that's over with, but no worries. You did really good with that process. And I knew that you would. So when we think about where do we go from here and talk about master teacher placement, again, we're not going to hone in it because we do know the model that the district is projecting to be the model. 1 master teacher for elementary school, 2 master teachers for middle high. And so therefore, where we have some placements at and some things and conversations that we talked about 2 weeks ago, where we'll have to really just talk about placement in our middle high area. Elementary schools are pretty already normed out. And so nobody principal has emailed me, say, get rid of this person off my campus. So my elementary people, you should be kind of good to go because I really won't be bugging you. Middle high, we will be talking about some shifting and moving in the next week or so. Sorry, Sarah. Look at Sarah did. I hate it. So shiftings are moving because that's where we have the openings in the vacancy as far as moving around. So that's that. So now let's just talk.
Did I miss you say when them contracts was being renewed?
You did that conversation is that. So for Taurus,
I ain't got no time for coin interruption on Rona, okay?
For Taurus purposes, that'll probably for contract renewal will probably be the week of May 25th week, that week, Tori.
Thank you.
But for my elementary teachers, masters, you guys, it's no foresee moving and all that thing. So you need to really just be really thinking about how can you make yourself a better version of you for year 4 at this time. I already start thinking about how can I get my hands on the teachers that I have. You guys, I know in the past that we required you to go through for master teachers. You guys had to sign up for all the summer PD and all those things. You guys, you even have time now even with that because based on the platform, most of those PDs are going to be virtual learning. So my thing is, that's why they kind of removed those 8 days because most of those PDs are going to be virtual learning. Or just a few are going to be on demand where you're going to have to be there. You're going to have to jump into a live Zoom to be part of that. But you have flexibility. So my thing is, if you can get your hands on your teachers in the summertime, I'm talking about even if it's just twice a month, where you can still build capacity and just talk through stuff that you know. Normally we spend the first 2 weeks of school talking about this. Go and knock that stuff out in the summertime so that you can really hit the ground rolling on curriculum and looking at student work, looking at how can we really close these gaps, those kind of things. So let's just talk about summer expectations. The main thing, as Princess was saying, you guys study, study, study. We as a master teacher, again, I should never get a call from a principal or assistant principal and say, Dr. Rainer, I'm just kind of concerned about my master teacher capacity. That should never, ever, 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 ever come out of a leader mouth. I can understand personalities because my thing is I don't like dealing with everybody either. I can understand that kind of stuff. But for capacity, no way. You are a master teacher. Your job is to study. And I don't know, is Shayla on this Zoom? Shayla, you there? I don't think she's on here. But you guys, I say this and I'm going to use a couple of you for example. When I think about Shayla got a lot of pushback when she applied to be a master teacher. I wasn't in this role at the time, so it's not to me. But because she was a PE teacher. She was a PE teacher. So the district was like, how can she teach somebody some curriculum stuff? And she was a PE. Y'all, Shayla is one, I'm just going to be honest, one of the top master teachers in this group. Because she studied. She studied. So it was no excuse why she said, okay, if I get this job, I'm going to show them why I'm proven to be a master teacher. And she's done just that. She knows science standards and science curriculum better than most science teachers. And that's not even her background. She studied. When I think about Elise was a music teacher. But you can't over talk her when it comes to CKLA.
Absolutely cannot. She's the greatest.
Because she studied. So I'm going to be honest. I do not want a principal or a leader calling me talking about questioning your capacity to lead this work as a master teacher. Your job is to be 2 steps again over every teacher. You need to think about your teacher with the highest capacity, and you need to think about your teacher with the lowest capacity. You need to be able to deal and handle with every teacher on your campus as far as knowing your work. And I'm not talking about you trying to prove yourself to them, because guess what? You are a master teacher and you got the role. That's not important. My important is if that teacher who is a highly effective teacher comes to you with an issue and a problem, you should be able to say, okay, let's sit down, let's talk through it. This is what your standards say. This is what your curriculum say. You should know that curriculum where you can offer that help to those teachers. So if you want one recommendation from me during the summertime, you guys, on May 25th, that week, you're going to pretty much know where you are and what you're doing. Some of you going to probably have to take on additional roles, especially when I'm talking about, again, sorry, middle high. I know y'all all mad, but middle high, because again, you're leveraging off going from two masters from 3 masters to 2 masters, or from 3 masters to 2 masters in most instances, where you're going to pick up another content area. You guys, it's very important that you understand that curriculum. Do you have to be an expert at teaching it? No, but you got to have a good understanding of shifts in standards and what the curriculum is asking. So it's very important that you understand that. Study. The next thing is, you guys, you are required to attend virtual curriculum PDs that's offered through teaching and learning department in your area of expertise. So therefore, those things are not going to start until June. By June, you're going to know exactly what you're supporting on your campus, and you need to make sure that, hey, if I'm over math, I need to make sure when that calendar come out, I need to look at where are they supporting and where they math. I don't care if you know guidebook going and coming. There's always some updates. I don't care if you know Zern going and coming. There's always some updates, you guys. And again, it's virtual. And a lot of these things are going to be just, hey, click on these because they pre-recorded. So you have all summer to listen to those things, which gives you a lot of flexibility. But please make sure you are studying your curriculum. The next thing that is an expectation for you guys is to check in on your teachers. Teachers, and a lot of times, you know, teachers who are leaving, because if you're on the leadership team, I'm sure there's conversations about who's leaving, who's left, who's coming aboard. Teachers that you know that are on board and spots are already been filled, just think about how can I 2 times a month or 3 times a month pop in and say, hey, log in today or log in tomorrow or log in next week to this hour Zoom, and let's just talk and make sure that you are really giving them some surface level knowledge, or else if you say, hey, we rolling with this thing and we really want to go deep, we gonna still continue what we started since we've been out, that's fine as well. But when I think about those new teachers, people that's new to your campus who don't know your campus way, how you guys do stuff, this is a great platform and a great way to say, hey, let me build some relationships with these people even before they step on our campus. And you can build it around the good stuff. Like, hey, let's just talk through 5 or 3 of the components of this rubric so I can give you a clear understanding what it looks like, what it sounds like. So you can deepen that understanding around that. Or you can deepen that understanding of, hey, you're gonna be teaching Zern, 3rd grade Zern. Have you took a look at your first unit? Let's go through and see what is the end goal and really talking through those kind of things. So you guys, those are stuff that I do as I shouldn't say I'm your boss, but as your shepherd, I expect those things to come from a master teacher. And then the last thing, you guys, because this platform has been so strong for us and for me, I just wish that we could have started this probably in August of this school year. I think some of you would have been way far along, and some of you wouldn't have fell off the track when it came to the direction you needed to go in, if we could just continue to meet like this. So I want us to continue to meet. After today, we won't meet every week. We'll actually go to bi-weekly. And again, I'll send you an update for those check-ins. But it's just really just jumping in, checking in. Hey, what you're doing, where you at, what you're thinking. Kind of those kind of things. So we should be very quick check-ins. But again, I must say, you guys, I'm very pleased with the work that you have done. But you guys, we still have a long way to go. We got with this, we're given the grace of these SPS. I knew most of our campus was going to show some growth this year. The only thing that I was worried about this year was them including science and science bringing our scores down. But I think we have done a good job on really protecting that social studies time, where social studies have killed us in the past. Because if you look at our data and you look at the trends of the zone, we growing in math and reading, ELA, especially in our elementary schools. We're growing. What's killing us is the social studies scores in those schools. And I think this year we really gave a good amount of time to protecting that, of make sure that it was teaching the social studies. But the thing about it is the science now. And so we don't even know what what it's going to look like for 2021. They'll probably give us another waiver for science and say, hey, it counts as a field testing year. If you score higher than your last science score, you can use it. If not, you can use the score that you already had. Or if they're going to say everything is going to count full throttle, or if they're going to say, hey, y'all, we just gonna look at math and reading this year. We don't know what the state guidelines gonna be. We just gonna make sure we are doing good, solid work to make sure that we are ready whenever testing time comes. And so now we'll go to, if you guys got questions or comments, and then if not, then we're gonna just say, hey, have a good summer. Anybody want to jump in? Anybody got anything to say? Any amens? Anything you need to say?
Dr. Rainey, I just want to say, I thank you for being the lead learner. You really made this year, you rolled out the carpet. You gave us your expectations, but you led us through this whole process where we didn't have to think and wonder what we had to do and how we had to do that. So for that, Dr. Rainey, I want to say kudos to you.
Thank you, Ju. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Anybody else? All right, so
enjoying your food, Dr. Rainey?
Oh yeah, I'm eating some peanuts, and they really good because I'm starving. You hear my container?
But yeah, definitely echo those sentiments LaShonda just said.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your transparency, being open,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know, each time we got together, I know sometimes at the high school table, we would be trying to figure out, okay, where do we fit in all of this? Because elementary seem like they have it together.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that's not the case, when y'all get to the meetings, y'all seem like y'all have it all together. So.
they be putting on front, Sarah. They be front.
Look, we be trying to figure out how we fit in there.
Lies.
But anyway, I appreciate the learning that I've gotten from all of you guys. All right, even though some of it is so not feasible at the high school level, it is awesome to hear what's working in elementary. such that in my next steps or the reflection piece from our impact, one of mine said I would like to observe some of the elementary clusters where you guys are getting that data together, and I want to hear those conversations to hear how that should be taking place at our level. So thank y'all.
That speaks to the power of team, y'all. Power of team. Anybody else? Master T, you don't have nothing to say besides your contract?
Well, since everyone was so taken back, I was just going to sit quiet for the rest of the day. But I just want to say it was a pleasure and a joy working with everyone, not only this year, but years in the past. And it's just great to be a part of a collaborative community where people can be transparent and seek help and offer help without egos and other things taking over the place. It's a true love of learning and a love for seeing our teachers grow. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yay!
Thank you, Master T, because I definitely want to stamp that, you guys. We are truly a family, and that's kind of been my whole initiative of merging, because again, I am a person of relationships. I just truly believe people don't work as hard as they can for you unless they have a relationship and they can really trust you. And one thing that I always want to make sure that we exemplify within this collaborative group is nobody's dumb and nobody don't have all the right answers when it comes to it. If you know you are struggling with something, that's one thing. Like when Sarah don't mind asking a question, and Sarah has very high capacity, but she does not mind asking a question. Another Princess gonna tell you, I don't understand it. Could you please give me some help? Or please connect me to somebody who can help me. That's very important in our work, because you guys, again, our role is so important. This is not just a basic role, and I'm just going to do it if I can do it, and if I don't understand it, oh, well, I just screw it up. No, y'all, we have the power to really change some stuff. Our role is so important. So it's very important, as Tori just so beautifully spoke, you guys, that, egos out the way. I've enjoyed seeing, because some of you are kind of bullheaded. You are really, really headstrong, and when I bring you guys together, you can push back some. But at the end of the day, we walk away from the table, and everybody's hugging and saying, "Okay, good feedback. Thank you for those kind of things." And that's what it's all about: is to grow all of us. Even me, y'all. Just listening to some of your conversations, have even grown me in the process. Even when I watched all those presentations, just saying, wow, this is some good stuff, and this is stuff I know this campus can actually use with that. And I think that's what it's all about. That my thing is, we are one team and one goal, and our goal is to grow schools at the end of the day. And that's growing by growing teachers and teachers growing kids. But at the same time, we have our hands on a small population of kids, because we should be doing some field testing. So thank you, Master T, for that. Anybody else want to share before we say enjoy your evening?
I do want to say something. I'm just going to ditto everything that everyone has said. And I don't know if I'm the first year master teacher in this group, but I am. This is my first year. I'm at Booker T. Washington. I tell you, I don't know what I would have done without the family of master teachers. I ditto everything that LaShonda said in reference to you, Dr. Rainey. You have truly, truly been that support. I appreciate you. I appreciate the push, but also just teamwork does make the dream work. And being the first year master teacher coming in, I never felt any type of way from anyone, but I am so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of a family that truly cherishes and loves teaching and learning. So I have, from a one-year master teacher, I thank all of you for everything that you put forth on your campuses or anywhere in Caddo Parish. That it has truly helped me as a teacher myself to grow my capacity as a teacher to be able to help other teachers as well. So I just want to thank all of you for everything that you've done. Big, small, you may not know what you've done, but I tell you, it has impressed me and has made me better. So I thank you for the support and the opportunity to continue to teaching and learning with this district. It's awesome. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Okay, we're gonna have to stop this because I'm gonna have to get my tissue in a minute. All right, so anybody else before we... Roz, yeah, I'm a big teddy bear. That's all I am. This gonna make me cry. I'm gonna stop this in a minute. Anybody else? I know a lot of y'all just don't want to talk. This y'all time to talk right here. All right, so y'all, we're gonna close off. If the people who led some summer work as far as a digital module, if you don't you log off. I need you to stay on so we can talk like for 5 minutes, and then I'll let you log off. But everybody else, you can actually log off. And again, we'll meet in probably 2 weeks. I'll send out the invite. It's going to go bi-weekly. We won't be meeting every week after today unless there's a very important need. And I don't see there's a need because we already kind of know our directions and where we're going and what we need to be working on when it comes to it. So as things come out through Angela's department, I'll push them out to you and we'll just have our check-ins bi-weekly. Again, thank everybody for all that you have done this year. You've made it a smooth process and a pleasure to actually shepherd this work. And again, we'll be in touch again with placements and contracts, Master T, real soon. All right, so you guys can log up. But if you have done a digital module for me, just stay on so we can kind of talk about something.